Norway has never been a large European destination. Tourism makes up only 4.2% of Norway's GDP. But just like in many Scandinavian countries, Norway is trying to make itself more attractive to the rest of the world and attract more tourism. Tourism is growing both domestically and internationally in Norway. From 2000 to 2018, Norway saw a 53% increase in total expenditure by tourists in Norway. The main industry for thousands of years in Norway was fishing. And this is very applicable to the region that we will be studying today, Unstad in the Lofoten Islands. For hundreds of years, fishing has been the main industry in Lofoten, but now tourism has taken over. This is largely due to the huge amount of activities that can be done all throughout the year in Lofoten, and therefore in Unstad. Season-specific activities, such as seeing the northern lights, is possible in fall and winter. Also, skiing and ice climbing are possible from the winter through to early spring. And when the snow is not on the ground, hiking and cycling are hugely popular among Norwegians and tourists who visit Lofoten. Rock climbing is also very popular in late spring, summer, and early fall. And throughout the whole year, to various degrees, surfing is a big activity in Unstad. In fact, it is the main reason why tourists come to Unstad. Because of its centrality in the community at Unstad, I will take a short detour and focus on surfing in the Unstad region. To do this, we must zoom out slightly and think about the geographical placement of the Lofoten Islands. These islands are located jutting out from Norway into the North Atlantic. For this reason, they are exposed to a huge amount of swell and wind all throughout the year from the North Atlantic. The blue marks the Gulf Stream, which is coming up from Mexico and bringing warmer air, and this is responsible for the mild climate that Lofoten has throughout the winter. Also, as a result of this, a lot of swell throughout mainly the fall and the winter is brought from Greenland, Iceland, and the North Atlantic. These systems build off the coast of Greenland and Iceland and in the central North Atlantic, and then arrive uninterrupted at the beaches of Unstad, creating on their day some world-class waves and some of the best waves in Northern Europe. And now for some history. Until the 1960s, surfing was not done in Unstad. It took for some young boys from the village who worked on sailboats who sailed around the world to go to Sydney, Australia to discover surfing and bring it back to Unstad. Of course, they didn't have any surfboards, so in their woodworking class at school, they used a Beach Boys album cover to model a surfboard and build it in their school. This is how surfing came to Unstad, and one of the first surf pioneers there was a man called Thor Franzen, widely considered to be Norway's first surfer, and of course, he was the first person to surf at Unstad. The story of the history of Unstad is tightly linked with tourism in Unstad today. Tourism nowadays in Unstad centers around two locations. One is the Lofoten Surf Center, which is a surf shop in the town of Unstad, and the other, Unstad Arctic Surf, is a guest house and restaurant owned by Marion Franzen, the daughter of Thor Franzen, who was the first surfer in Norway. This shows the close link between tourism nowadays and the history of Unstad. The small population of the town consists of, apart from the surf shop and the guest house, 2 farms in the valley, but other than that, the population is the farmers and the people who work in the surf shop, the small convenience store, and the guest house. This is another reason why the inexorable link between tourism and the community is present at Unstad. This leads one to wonder about the relationship between Unstad and tourism, and what are the benefits that Unstad and the people who live there get from tourism. This leads me to my next section. Like I said in the previous section, the small population of Unstad means that everyone living there stands to benefit financially from tourism to Unstad. If you don't work directly in one of the 2 shops, a lot of people who live there rent their houses on Airbnb or rent some of their rooms for guests and surfers to stay in when they visit. And in these people's cases, the link is obvious. The more tourism, the more demand for people staying there, the more money these people will make. Another benefit of tourism in Unstad is beautification. Money from tourism provides revenue for beautification. For example, the addition of quaint yet modern guest houses in Unstad Arctic Surf due to the recent increase in demand for tourism there. And also the people of the village paying for public toilets and a community hall in the beach parking lot. These are also a result of increased revenue from tourism, and they allow for the money to stay in the community. Another example of tourism and the benefits it has on Unstad is empowerment. Locals are proud to see their community as one of the premier surfing destinations in Norway. It brings in tourists that are in awe of the raw beauty of the area and thus have a profound respect for Unstad, especially surfers that have seen how powerful the ocean can be there and what it can create. Finally, I would like to take a small detour to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic and how it relates to Unstad. In March, the government of Norway shut down international borders and international tourism into Norway because of the pandemic. And on the 12th of March, a nationwide 2-week lockdown was announced. However, after this, there was no restriction on domestic tourism. And much like in Canada, domestic tourism has become very popular, with people wanting to get out of their houses and do outdoor activities. This rise in domestic tourism meant that more and more Norwegians were traveling to Lofoten, and more specifically Unstad, to surf, visit, hike, bike, and engage in all of the activities that are possible there. Then, on July 15th, Norway reopened its international borders to international visitors, and Unstad became even more busy. In conclusion, tourism has been increasing for a while now in Norway, and Unstad has definitely seen this, with more and more people wanting to visit for the wealth of outdoor activities that are possible there. Most notably, surfing. For over 50 years now, surfing has been an integral part of the community at Unstad, and tourists come every year by their thousands to be a part of it. And the benefits that Unstad sees from this tourism include financial benefits, beautification, and empowerment. And even though there's been a global pandemic, Unstad has still been open and has been receiving surfers and visitors from Norway, and then since July from all over the world, and it will continue to do so for many years to come.